Hey y'all, I'm Kimberly Mull with sextraffickingspeaker.com and welcome back to my channel, the #1 place where we talk about the facts, the fiction, and all-out craziness that is sex trafficking and commercial sexual exploitation here in the United States of America. Now, you're probably watching this video because you want to learn one of the ways that society really harms victims of sex trafficking and really victims of all forms of sexual violence. Specifically, why society should stop demonizing victims' sexual activities and really understand how it can be related to PTSD and even self-care. So if you want to learn more about how you can be a better ally and help victims of sex trafficking, then stay tuned and continue watching this video. So I was recently listening to a podcast that I usually really enjoy, and the guy was talking to all of his friends, and they started talking about a girl that he used to date. And it got kind of dark really fast. He started calling her some really not so nice names, and his friends jumped in immediately and started calling her additional names that were not very nice. Then one of them said the phrase that we've all heard, that she has daddy issues. And I really started to think about all the people like myself who have been ushered through the sex trade at some point, who have been called these names and told that they are these things by an array of people, from prosecutors to police officers. I even had a friend's dad who was a deacon or pastor in our church growing up who called me, I can't remember now if it was a whore or a slut, but one of those names. And so it's something that happens often in our society, but particularly for survivors of sex trafficking who have activities that are not, who are not agreed upon by others, let's say, down the line in their life. So I've been told I have daddy issues, that I'm promiscuous. Some things that we hear are we're trampy, slutty, a whore. I've even in the South before been called a trollop and a hussy. Southern women dig really deep for their insults, bless their hearts. So it's something that has become very acceptable in our society to call women these names without realizing that, one, it labels women, it judges women, but also when it comes from a victim standpoint, that you're really judging a behavior that you have no idea what that behavior is related to. So we're going to talk about that a little bit here. So imagine that you're walking down the street and a random guy comes up to you and spits on your shirt. That's disgusting, right? And you'd probably wipe it off or even change your shirt. Well, then imagine that he spits on your face. What would you do? Well, I would wash my face multiple times because that's disgusting. Now imagine that the stranger comes up and he spits in your mouth. What would you do? Some people, they would use mouthwash and brush their teeth a lot and get that taste out, right? Other people would put lots of food or candy or gum or something sweet in their mouth or different flavors. Rinse their mouth out with soda or something else to get the flavor out. It's considered acceptable, right? Because that's disgusting. Someone puts something in you of themselves in your mouth. Well, now relate it to the most intimate part of a woman's being, or really anyone's being that's sexually assaulted or a victim of sex trafficking. You've had someone leave something in you, whether physically or emotionally, that you want to get out. Some people, some survivors and victims, they want to cleanse everything. They want to wash it all away. They may want to make sure that nothing else ever goes in there. They want to make sure that their body is completely empty, that nothing can touch it or nothing can be inside of it. Others, like myself, want to, just like with the spit in the mouth, want to put different flavors and want to choose different things to put inside to get that nastiness out. So, it may not be soda or candy or chocolate or whatever, but it is something that I choose, I decide, that goes into my body to get that flavor, that feeling out that someone else put in me without my consent. And that's, for some reason, harder for people to understand and accept. Now, I understand that there are times in my life where that's been very much PTSD related, to where I went through episodes where I didn't even remember or understand or was in the consciousness of my mind knowing what I was doing. And that's hard for people to get, I guess, as well. We accept the fact that soldiers can have PTSD, and if there's a firework that goes off, can go back into the moment of being in war and can completely disassociate and completely go off till they're back in war, right? And that we don't judge them for that. We want to get them help. But for some reason, when sex trafficking victim or sexual assault victim gets triggered and goes through that same process of disassociating or going through PTSD, and either consciously or unconsciously changes their behavior in order to make it through that episode, we judge them. We as society even created names for it. So we have to come to this understanding that it could possibly be something deeper than someone's personal preference. Now, if it's their personal preference, that also should be fine. However, a lot of times with survivors, we're judged by prosecutors and attorneys because of this behavior. A few years back, I was sexually assaulted in my home. I did everything you're supposed to do, including when I could, I got to my gun and pulled it out on him, ran him out of my house, called 911. The police caught him a few blocks from my home on foot. I got the rape kit. I went and talked to the police station. I talked to the prosecutors. And when it came down to it, my personal history of having previously been a victim of sex trafficking and my behavior towards preference of wanting to get that bad flavor and taste out of my mouth by using my ability as a free woman in this country and a single woman in this country to choose what goes in my body was used against me, and the prosecutor chose not to prosecute my rapist because of those names and those labels we put on women. Even if it was PTSD associated or even self-care related, something, that we do in a healthy moment, something that in a healthy way of choosing that this is what will make me feel good in the moment. This is something that I'm choosing in a healthy mind, healthy conscience to do. So I hope that helps you understand a little bit of how we as society should stop demonizing women, especially victims, and their sexual activities. Be sure to hit your subscription button, to give me a like. And if you enjoyed this video, check out my last video on why you should no longer use the word prostitute in your vocabulary. A lot of the reasons relate to why we discussed today, but goes more in depth. And I hope I will see you next time. Bye-bye.